when you look at all of our facilities, they're fairly old. And I think as a campus we've done a good job of maintaining our older buildings. But student demands change, they're not as energy efficient as they should be. And they were built over 40 plus years ago. And to say that they're going to be adequate for the next 40 years or 20 years, it would be a misnomer. Students' perceptions and expectations change over time, and it really was time when we started looking at it. It was time to really update those buildings. I think over the years we've done a good job of maintaining them, but a lot of behind the walls, you might have original plumbing that's already over 40 years old. The electrical has been upgraded, but still it's not as adequate for what our students are coming to expect these days. You compare to what our peer institutions and our aspirational institutions have were on this journey to the top 25, our housing is one area that needs to be improved, because with improved housing should improve the quality of student life for our students, which theoretically should increase our overall retention rates. University of Georgia, LSU, Clemson University, you'll find that students are saying, wow, our housing isn't up to par at Tennessee compared to some of these other institutions. Well, we know that students who live on campus, who become more engaged, students who are much more connected, they tend to have a higher retention rate. Okay? Students, that, for example, here at UTK, we know that students that participate in our living learning communities tend to average about 91% in terms of retention, which is high. It's higher than the overall campus retention rate. Of course, that's only a one-year snapshot in terms of what we're doing there, but we know that if they're on campus, they're going to have access to support resources, the UNR yourself, so just having someone you can turn to and help students who are in crisis or in need, we're more likely to try to retain you than if you were off campus and you may not have that person that you can go to that in the hall and talk to and say, here's what I'm struggling with, here's what I'm dealing with, how can I get the resources I need? Those are the type of things that will have an impact. It does allow us to be more efficient, maximize our resources, and the newer facilities will be much more energy efficient. You know, one of the things we hear from our students is, particularly right now, today's an absolutely gorgeous day. It's in the upper 60s. A week ago today, it was snowing. Well, we turned the heat on in the buildings a week ago. You can't switch the heat in that building and turn it to air conditioning overnight. It takes, in a matter of minutes. Because it's the infrastructure, it takes 24 to 48 hours to change it from one system to another. That leads to quality of life for our students. They're either burning up or they're too cold. And again, those are the things that are important. The quality of life is important. The happier the student, the better the quality of life. So these buildings, as we're looking at new systems, giving students those opportunities to say, I have some control. If I want to run my air conditioner and it's 19 degrees outside, have at it. If I want the heat and it's 80 degrees outside, have at it. I don't know how many students are going to do that, but at least it gives students that flexibility. Puts the control in their hands, much like you would in your own personal home. This next semester, we're actually going to conduct an assessment of the students who actually live in the building. How are you using this space? What do you like and dislike about the building itself? Because that feedback will help inform us as we're talking about all these other projects we're building. Because now we can correct mistakes before you actually go out and build something. But also, it helps us inform how we can create a better environment for our students. One of the ideas that we'd like to do is integrate more of the classroom academic life into the residence halls. And by creating multi-purpose space that allows us to say, You know, you can have a smaller chemistry class in your residence hall. You can't have a lab, but you can have the smaller chemistry class in your, or an English class, or a journalism course. Then you can do so. And at the same time, we can also be efficient by saying, when it's not being used for academic space, flip the space and use it for all programs, evening programs. It allows us as a campus to be much more efficient with space. You know, it's changed a lot. And student expectations are one thing, but I lived in non-air conditioned space. We didn't even have cable, for that matter, in our residence halls. The amenities portion is what's changed. I think the thing that, back when I was an undergrad and work today, the one thing that students that are pretty common are, we want places to gather, socialize, and places to attend programs that aren't across campus. We had a landline, which is no longer there. We didn't have internet, so those are things just that have changed, but the needs, the desires to have common space, always been there. In fact, I'd almost say there's probably more of a push for that right now, because students want that Starbucks feeling, you know? I want to be able to have a cup of coffee, put my laptop out, maybe have the TV going, and just kind of watching and going around, talking to people walking by, or working, or doing group study, that kind of thing. This fall, for example, we're going to allow freshmen to select their own room. We're not even going to do it. We're not even going to assign them. They're going to select their own room. Being given the power to students, says, you select it. If there's a spot open in the hall you want, great. If there isn't, get on the waiting list, but choose something else.